I've been working till the break of 4:45. I get an automatic raise, and I can't be fired. Must wait till age 57 till I can retire with an inflation-adjusted pension that continuously keeps going higher. Oh, it's a damn shame what the world's come to. They want us back in the office on Mondays too. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Not living in the real world is a lot harder than you'd know. Sure, I got dental, but it's bad I go mental, 'cause I had to fill out both of these forms. I also see price hikes on necessities. I had to purchase my rental in Ocean City. Please don't tell anyone. It's so embarrassing, the plight of rich man.
That's the parody of the rich man in North of Richmond. Yeah, I think that's where we find us. Before we go to our next guest, Mike, welcome to Detroit's Morning Answer.
That was ode to the federal worker. That's about all I can.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, John, you made me start thinking this morning when I first heard you this morning. It was talking about identities.
Yeah.
How I identify as being a black person or whatever you identify. And to me, I'm kind of at a miss. I really don't think about my whiteness.
Yeah. You white?
I don't think about my heritage as a Slovak, which, if you look at the root word, was slave.
Yeah.
In Eastern European, way before anything else.
Yeah.
And, I'm thankful and blessed to be in a nation where I can go ahead and thrive. But the problem as my identity.
This is true.
If I go to another nation, you know what? People already know who I am.
Yeah.
They'll
America.
Say, that's an American.
America. As soon as you open your mouth, you're an American.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
You're
we got
an
our
American.
guest coming up.
Yes, sir.
All right, my brother.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate it. I gotta play this because I think it speaks to this whole government shutdown. And it's coming from Cuomo, of all people.
Not true.
The Republican partisan spending bill that they introduced is not clean.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. It's not a clean bill. It's a dirty bill. Well, that's all a lie. It's not a clean continuing resolution.
Listen, I like Hakeem Jeffries. I think he's got an amazing future. He's got better fights than this. This is a clean CR. What does that mean, by the way? Continuing resolution. Instead of passing a real budget like they should, this just says, hey, remember the last one? Let's just continue at those levels again, all right? Now, that may mean that certain people who should get less won't, certain people who need more won't, but a clean CR means that this is an extension from the last set of, in this case, Biden's spending levels, okay? That's what a clean CR is. This is a clean CR. Wait a minute, Cuomo disagrees with Jeffries. Jeffries must be right. Don't take my word. Take the word from the Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. They say this is about as clean a CR as you could get. Okay, again, it's a continuation of a March stopgap measure. All right, essentially a continuation of spending levels from Biden, absent about $13 billion. But when you look at it as a function of the pie, it's literally a rounding error. I don't like that. It's a lot of money, but it's a rounding error. Again,
much more power via a government shutdown is a far worse option. I believe it is my job to make the best choice for the country, to minimize the harms to the American people. Therefore, I will vote to keep the government open and not shut it down.
Now, the sheer hypocrisy that we're witnessing from the left as it relates to this shutdown. That's why I had to have Jeff Dornik, who's the founder and CEO of Pickaxe, the social media platform built on freedom of speech and freedom of reach. He's also the author of Following the Leader, a book that exposes how political narratives control culture and shape the choices of everyday Americans. If we're not seeing that through this budget shutdown. As Washington enters another government shutdown, the Democrats are quick to point fingers while quietly ensuring billions continue flowing to causes they favor, including benefits for illegals. What they're after is the provisions. If you listened to the show yesterday, I had a guest on They are after the provisions in the one big, beautiful bill. Jeff Dornik, welcome back to Detroit's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You know, you heard that audio clip from Cuomo on Hakeem Jeffries and the sheer hypocrisy, the lying about what they're after. Oh, illegals can't receive benefits. Jeff, you know, you can say what you want because the states is where it's happening at. How do you tackle this sheer hypocrisy coming from leaders like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's with the truth, and it's a very basic, simple answer. But it's the reality is that and it's interesting because Massey, Thomas Massey, actually yesterday he actually posted a tweet or maybe 2 days ago about this. That it kind of showed a little bit of the hypocrisy of both the Democrats and the Republicans with the continuing resolution, where he said that his tweet said that Republicans passed a line-by-line continuation of Biden's last budget, including DOJ identified waste.
Yep.
But also Democrats refused to vote for Biden's last budget, thereby shutting down the government. And you're just sitting here and you're looking at this and you're like, okay, so the Democrats now they're refusing to implement Joe Biden's budget under Donald Trump as a means to attack Donald Trump. Make it make sense.
It can't. I can't, Jeff. I simply cannot. I brought you on here to make it make sense for the listening audience. Please make it make sense. I don't get it, Jeff.
Yeah, well, again, this goes to show that the dirty game of politics in Washington, D.C., where in all reality, it has absolutely nothing to do with principles. And that's the thing that people need to understand. I think especially as conservatives, because a lot of us are very rooted in like foundational principles. A lot of us are Christians. We believe in the Bible. A lot of us, we all believe in the Constitution, and that there's something outside of ourselves that for foundational principles that we follow. With the Democrats and some Republicans as well, but especially with the Democrats, they don't have outside foundational principles. To them, the ends justify the means, and it's about winning. It's not about what's right. And I think with this instance, it's a perfect example of how you literally have the same bill that they pushed under Joe Biden, that now instead of implementing Donald Trump's bill, which would be the spending bill and all that kind of stuff, that they're saying, well, let's do a continuing resolution of Joe Biden's budget, and the Democrats will not vote for Joe Biden's budget because they feel that voting for Joe Biden's budget will be supporting Donald Trump. It makes absolutely no sense. On the flip side, one of my personal frustrations with this whole thing is that we were all told that that guys like Massey and Rand Paul and some of these guys that didn't vote for the continuing resolution last time, that it's like, well, look, we just need time to get this bill together, and then the next time when it comes up, we're going to get this bill passed. Well, how many continuing resolutions do we need to implement before we're finally like, okay, enough is enough? So there's a bit of hypocrisy on both sides, but to me, the blatant hypocrisy is that the Democrats will not vote for Joe Biden's budget as a continuing resolution.
Well, I stood with Congressman Massey on the last time, much to the chagrin of some of my friends who are Trump supporters. I didn't like how President Trump came after him. Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, they are of the fold of Ron Paul, less government as possible. So I stood with him. I didn't believe that. But you know what? The truth does come out. And of all the people that the truth came out about why this shutdown is happening, guess what? It came from a Michigan Congressman, Dandadar. I hope I'm saying his name correct. Listen to what he has to say, Jeff.
Returning back to Detroit this morning after the Republicans failed to show up in the U.S. House, we got to make sure Americans have the health care that they need. And if that means we got to shut this government down, so be it.
Now, he just right there, and a lot of his Democrat colleagues are pouring down on him right now because he told the truth about why this shutdown has happened. That's truly what they believe, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's totally what they believe. But again, this is the problem that you have with the Democrat Party in general is that they're not following principles, but they all have a narrative that they're supposed to follow. And when somebody actually breaks away from the pre-scripted lines that they're supposed to read, and then they actually tell the truth. Obviously, then they denounce. But in all reality, that's what's happening. Is that the Democrats are basically betting on this idea that they can spin this shutdown in order to hurt Trump and to benefit themselves. And they're going back to the same old game of identity politics. And, we got to help the poor, and we have to help, this is a fight over your health care and all this kind of stuff. When the reality is that, like, if they're attacking Donald Trump for this continuing resolution, they should also be attacking their own party, because this is their own budget. And this is the utter hypocrisy of what they're doing, where to them, I'll back up a little bit. When you look at the continuing resolutions, when a Democrat is in power, the Republicans oppose the continuing resolutions, the Democrats support it. When a Republican's in power, the Republicans support the continuing resolutions, the Democrats oppose it. And you can have it's the exact same bill. It doesn't matter, but it's whoever's in power, then the other side wants to oppose it. And this is the problem with what we're dealing with, is nobody's dealing in reality. Yeah. Everybody's just dealing in optics and these battles between the two parties, instead of actually doing what's right for the American people.
And the Republicans did vote 13 times with Biden on 13 continuing resolutions, even though a lot of them were in opposition. They just didn't want a government shutdown. In your book, though, your book couldn't come out at a better time. In following the leader, you warn against blindly following political narratives. How does the shutdown debate illustrate that danger, Jeff?
Honestly, it's a perfect illustration of are you just going to repeat the talking points that you're fed by your political party? And I don't care which political party you're talking about, Democrat, Republican, your favorite politician, whatever that might be. Are you just repeating what you're being told, or are you figuring things out for yourself? And I think that that's the key when you're dealing with this situation specifically. Is that to me, the American people should be calling for, okay, A, let's not shut down the government, but also B, let's actually pass a spending bill. How many times do we have to go over the same old thing over and over and over again, where we cannot get a spending bill passed? This is your job, Congress. Get the job done. Get it through. They have a spending bill. They could push it through, but the Democrats obviously are trying to hold it up and doing whatever means that they can, which then forces this continuing resolution. At a certain point, the American people need to say, look, enough is enough. Get the job done. This is what we voted for you to go do, is pass a spending bill and get our spending under control, actually get this thing done.
Jeff Dornik, why do you think Democrats are willing to, and I'm speaking specifically to Michigan, why do you think Democrats are willing to let federal workers in Michigan go without paychecks, yet refuse to cut off government checks for those in the country illegally?
Because it all comes down to their priorities. They use the American people as their scapegoats in order to get things done. They use the American people as pawns. They don't actually care about the American people. And I think that has been very, very clear, whether you're talking about these shutdowns or a whole lot of their other legislation. In all reality, that's why so many of the different communities that have traditionally voted Democrat are all trending towards Donald Trump and Republicans over the last couple of elections, is because they're waking up and they're realizing that Democrats don't actually care about us. We've been fighting these same issues for how many decades? The Democrats keep promising us these things because they want our vote, but then they never actually deliver. Why? Because all they care about is the vote and using people for their own benefit. Whereas when you're dealing with the illegals, they know that because they need the illegals here for a variety of reasons, whether it's cheap labor, whether it's changing congressional, voting, and dealing with census and all that kind of stuff, a whole host of things. So they need to keep them here. So that's why they allow all the benefits and the spending and all that kind of stuff dealing with the illegals. It's a tactical reason, but it also goes to show that they don't actually care about you. They just care about their ends that they're trying to get to.
Yeah, if you're just joining the show, we're talking to Jeff Dornik. He's the founder and CEO of Pickaxe. He's also written a groundbreaking book called Following the Leader. Let's talk about Pickaxe. What role can a platform like Pickaxe play in cutting through shutdown spin and exposing what politicians don't want Americans to see?
Yeah, so a lot of it comes down to the main difference between the big tech social media platforms like X and Facebook and Instagram and all that versus Pickaxe is going to be the algorithms. And the algorithms on these big tech platforms, they're actually amplifying the two-party politics, posts, the rage posting, the divisiveness, Republicans bashing Democrats bashing Republicans. Whereas with Pickaxe, the way our algorithms work, it's chronological. So you actually earn your audience. So you don't have to post all these crazy posts in order for the algorithm to catch your post and promote it. On Pickaxe, it's like, okay, your followers are actually going to see your content. You can maybe trend. You can do all that kind of stuff. But the beauty of it is what I'm seeing is that there's actually more quality content in the posts that are going on to Pickaxe because of this algorithmic change. So that way there is more nuance. You can write an article on the platform so that now you have long form content. You can introduce nuance to the conversation, and you can kind of get past just the short 280 character tweets where you can't really get into any details or nuance or anything like that. It's just something that gets people inflamed and pissed off at each other, and then that's what gets clicks and posts. So that's the major difference, is that a platform like Pickaxe can actually kind of cut through.
Now, Jeff Dornik, YouTube just paid President Trump $24 million, and while they paid President Trump and restored his account and all that, they're now signaling a willingness to restore accounts they once deleted, like mine. I have yet to see it restored. How do you interpret this sudden shift?
So there's a couple different things going on. Number one is they understand Republicans are in power, and Trump's not running for re-election, and so they kind of want to keep Trump happy. They're also seeing that Trump is very open to the tech world in Silicon Valley. And so he's getting partnership deals and signing deals with, whether it's X or Meta or OpenAI or all these different platforms. So there is a somewhat of a political play there in order to appease Trump, so that way Google can get some government contracts and all that. There's another component as well that a lot of people overlook, is that and this goes back to why Elon Musk bought Twitter, was that, he got a loan for $44 billion in order to buy Twitter. Specifically, it wasn't to defend free speech, although that was a byproduct of it. It was actually to collect data in order to funnel it into artificial intelligence, because he saw the writing on the wall, and he knew that if you have half the country that's not allowed on a platform, you're not actually getting all the data that you could get. So then he opened it back up and implemented a policy called freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. So he'll let you say what you want. They can collect the data, but they don't have to let anybody see it. Google is going to be implementing the same thing, because they have their own artificial intelligence and they want to compete with Grok. So what are they going to do? Allow conservatives back on. They're not going to let you be seen, but they can collect the data, funnel it into the AI, and then use that to train the artificial intelligence, so that way it can compete with their competitors.
That is so true, because I remember even on Facebook, Facebook still shadow bans my videos. It doesn't get the reach that it wants. I used to have 50, 60, 100 people joining in on my show on a Saturday on a live. That doesn't happen anymore. I barely get 10 to 15 now. Is that what you're speaking about?
Yeah, definitely. They're artificially limiting your reach and then boosting accounts and topics that they want to get out there. But then they're dangling the carrot of quote unquote free speech. Oh, we're free speech. We're not censoring you. See, we're not kicking you off. Yeah, sure, but you're not allowing even my own followers to see my content. Yeah. That's a major problem. But again, they dangle the carrot enough to keep you on, so that way you keep giving them your data, and then they can then train their large language models to build their artificial intelligence.
Man, I love it. Jeff, quickly, where can people get the book? And they can just download Pickaxe on Apple or Android, right?
Yeah, so you guys can pre-order Following the Leader at jeffdornik.com, and jeffdornik.com/FTL for Following the Leader. You guys can get the book there, pre-order it right now. For Pickaxe right now, we're web-based, so you can go to pickaxe.com, which is PICKAX.com. We're dropping the app in for iOS and Android here in the next couple of weeks. We're beta testing it right now. But you guys can sign up today at pickaxe.com. We've got to have a bunch of amazing people already on there, like the Vigilant Fox and Daily Clout and Children's Health Defense and all that. So you guys can check all that out.
You know what? I'm definitely going to go and sign up, because I love the Vigilant Fox. I get a lot of my videos that I use for audio from the Vigilant Fox. I mean, just amazing, really is. But Jeff, thanks so much. Jeff Dornik, founder and CEO of Pickaxe. Go get his book, Following the Leader. Thanks so much for joining us on Detroit's Morning Answer.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, sir. I want to end the show. Today would have been my son's 22nd birthday. So right around this time, September always begins the descent into what I like to call I get really quiet. When I'm off radio, I just go off and don't do a lot of things. But I will be doing an event tonight in Illinois with Pastor Lorenzo Sewell from 180 Church and Jeannie Ives. We're doing an event together tonight. We're just going to talk about what it means to be a conservative and and the changing term of what conservatism is. So we're going to do a talk about that. Normally I don't do anything on his birthday, but I wanted to do something different because he would have been 22 years old. And I know my good friend in Illinois, Mark Bank, he lost his son 5 years ago as well. So I want to, on this day, so I want to send my thoughts and prayers to you, Mark Bank. He's a good man, and I know Tina's listening, so I wanted to let him know. It gets hard. It's not as hard as it was, year 1, year 2, year 3, but year 4 still is hard. All of my girls are coming together today. My daughter, who's away at college, is coming home today to spend some time with us this weekend. And we're just going to huddle up and remember our John Wesley Christian Anthony, who would have been 22 today. And I don't know, man. Some days, it's easy. Some days it's not. And I think being around a group of people is going to be good for my soul tonight. So I look forward to the event that we're doing tonight. And if you haven't gotten the book, Letters to John Boy, please go out and get it. You can get it at blackandwhiteradio.com. Right now it's out of print, so they're printing more now. And so that's a good sign, right, Paul? And you can get it on Amazon as well. Just type in Letters to John Boy. And I would love to, love. I can't even take any books with me tonight to sign at the event. But I have ordered a lot more, over 100 and some books I've just ordered to hopefully I'll have for Freedom Summit when we do Freedom Summit in November. But please pray for my family today. And this whole October, November, and December is always a rough time for me and my family because we don't have our John Boy with us. And it gets hard sometimes. So please pray for us. I mean, we need prayers more than anything. And with that said, I want to thank you for listening in. I want to thank my guests, Representative Van Bolen, Jeff Dornik, who you just heard from. Paul, good job. Riley, great job on the guests. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. David W., we out.